So I said that today we're going to be talking about boundaries in a relationship. This is a very important conversation, very, very important, because I'm sure if you're listening to me, you're either in a relationship or you've been in one before, or you're perhaps married, or you're contemplating getting into a relationship, or you're telling yourself, I beg, I'm done with all this relationship matter. I beg, please don't even disturb me. Relationship, no more. Well, whatever the case, I'm glad that you can hear me right now, because what we're going to talk about will be of value to you. And I'm sure if you incline your heart to wisdom, you will find something valuable here. Okay, in the month of January, I started by talking about what should form your relationship goals for this year. Okay, and the first thing I actually spoke about was that you should choose to love yourself better this year. It pains me so much that, most of the troubles people face in their relationships are because they don't love themselves. They don't love themselves. And they don't know this thing. They don't know it. It's that simple. Many people don't love themselves and they are looking for love everywhere. There was a group that sang about looking for love in all the wrong places. That's what's happening with so many people. They are looking for love in all the wrong places. And it keeps evading them. Why? Because they haven't learned to love themselves. It begins with you. You need to love yourself. Do you understand? So, when you love yourself, there are certain things you will not tolerate anymore. When you begin to grow in love for yourself, there are certain things you will excuse yourself from unapologetically. The reason many people still tolerate a lot of rubbish in their relationships is because they don't love themselves. Okay, so that was the first thing we shared in the relationship goals series, and then we also expanded it and said that if you love yourself, there are certain things you will do. You will take your spirituality serious. You will take your personal development serious. You pay attention to your weaknesses, because those are the things that can really burn your cable out there. Okay, they say, that guy is a very, very nice, no, not nice. Maybe he's a rich guy, he's a cool guy. But very proud, bad character. You see, it burns your cable. Or they say, that girl, she's very beautiful, but very saucy. You see, it burns your cable out there. All right. So identify those areas that you really need to change. If you've been in several relationships and all of them are complaining about the same thing about you, listen, the whole world can be wrong about you. Okay. So you are the one who would need to pay attention to those things they've been saying and incline your heart to wisdom and change. All right. So let me not do a full recap. If you missed everything we shared in the month of January, please, it's hosted on our YouTube page and it's also here on our Instagram handle. Please, we invite you to come back and watch it. Watch the videos. That's why we leave them there. If you want the audio, it's on Mixler. Sometimes because of network, we tend to miss one or two Mixler sessions, but most of the sessions are there. All right. So, I'm seeing my ginger crew. Fair Blossom, you're here. I see you. Okay. Munchie Berry, I see you. God bless you guys. David Glory King, good to see you here, man. How you doing? Olowa Sheung, yeah, Didi Swags, yeah. I see you guys. All right. So let's jump right into, there are a couple of guys I didn't mention earlier. I hope you guys don't mind. A-World Media, correct guy, you're always here. I see you. Okay. So let's get into it. Okay, so relationship boundaries, very important conversation. Generally, a boundary is like a dividing line. When you say don't cross the boundary, there is a line. It means that there is a territory where you have access to, you have permission to, and beyond that territory, you don't have permission. Okay, in some cases, you will hear them say that trespassers will be prosecuted. In some cases, they tell you trespassers will be arrested. Okay. So why? Because you don't have rights, you don't have authority, you don't have clearance, as it were, or permission to go beyond that point. Now, this applies to every area of life. That applies to national and international territory and geographical regions. And it also applies to your own personal space and your personal territory. Okay. Now, it's important you know this, that a relationship without boundaries will be an abusive relationship. A relationship without boundaries is one where one person is being taken advantage of again and again. A relationship without boundaries is a relationship that is going nowhere. Okay. Why? Because boundaries actually help you to even achieve your goals in life. Boundaries help you to stay focused. Boundaries help to protect you from external invasion. So just imagine that you don't have any restrictions in your life. You will do any and everything. You will run after everything that distracts you. You see, and most importantly, you will be very susceptible to external attack. You'll be very prone to external attack. Why? Because your boundaries also help to protect you. Imagine a house without a fence, or imagine a house without a door. All right, in an environment that is prone to crime, what will happen? Every criminal will use that place as their chill spot, because you know that every time you go here, you must get a kill, you must get a game, you must get something out of it. Okay, so that is what boundaries do. They help to protect you, they secure you, they keep you away from harm. But guess what? A lot of people don't know this, so they don't have boundaries. They accept anything. They are open to any and everybody. Okay, I remember once speaking with somebody about the relationship she was in, and they were having their problems were so many, too much. It was like, there was a book in secondary school they call 1 Week, 1 Trouble. In this particular relationship, it was a thing of 1 day, 1 trouble. 1 day, 1 trouble. They couldn't have a successful day. The day could not end without quarrel. Have you seen anybody in that kind of relationship? I'm sure some of you can relate. All right. It's like, if you don't quarrel, no, the relationship is, something is not okay in that relationship. Even if everywhere has been good, just before you go to bed at night, there will be a phone call that will spoil everything. There will be an action that will spoil everything. Okay. And then this lady has been in that relationship and, speaking as someone who was stuck and couldn't get out of it. And at some point I had to ask, but please, how in the first place did you even get into all of this mess you call a relationship? And the answer? Well, he asked me out. And I'm like, okay, asked you out? I mean, did you see some of these signs? Oh, yes, I saw them. But why did you agree? Because he asked me out. And I know that there are so many people out there who are in relationships. Some have even gotten married simply because he asked me out. And if you remember in September, one of the topics I treated under the basic toasting methods, I said to ladies, not every person who asks you out should you consider for a relationship. I said your answer can be no. When people ask you out, your answer can be no. Your answer doesn't have to be a yes. It can be no. However, I remember saying that you guys should learn how to politely communicate your no and do it gracefully. Don't say no in a way that the person will feel insulted or reduced or, all this kind of stuff. All right. So the answer can be no. It doesn't have to be a yes. Why? Because you need to know that you can have your own boundaries. There are certain things that you don't accept. Even if you were already saying yes before, and then you started noticing certain things, you have a right to address those things. And if those things are not going to change, you have a right to pull back and say, okay, you know what? This is not going to work anymore. Why? Because take note, relationship is not lifetime commitment. It's marriage that is lifetime commitment. If the relationship is doing like it will not see the light of day, or the person has refused to be committed to it, you have a right to walk away. Okay, so let me not stray too much. Boundaries is what we're talking about. Boundaries. And this session this month, oh my God, it's just going to be so powerful. You guys are going to love it. We're going to address very practical things. At some point, I will try to give examples. Okay, so I'll try to cover as much ground as I can cover so that there will be more time for interaction. Okay, and something I want you guys to do in the course of my conversation, if there are questions you have, feel free to already drop the questions, okay, so that we can speak to them in the course of the sessions. You don't have to wait till the end of the month for the Q&A session. Those Q&A sessions are never enough. There's not a time I've been able to exhaust all of the questions that I have. Okay, so as we speak to it, if you have questions, you can drop it here. Let's just also address it already. Okay, now, is there anybody here who at some point of being true to yourself, you discovered that there were times in your relationship where you did not have any fences, where you did not have any boundaries, or you did not have boundaries in certain places where you ought to have boundaries, and you suffered for it and you felt bad about it. Is there anybody like that here? Can you relate with that? Somehow I'm sure that people can relate, okay? And you know how it makes you feel, okay? Now I'm saying that because one of the ways you can learn about your boundaries are from your previous relationships and previous mistakes you have made, okay? It's such a pity that, okay, yes, someone says I, thank you. You know, it's such a pity that people see, no, let me rephrase that. People refuse sometimes to learn from their own experiences. They see the lessons quite all right, but they just refuse to internalize them. And I wonder why. Maybe they feel like if they come to the point of accepting that they were wrong, as if something was going to happen in their life, you know, so they make mistakes. They refuse to learn from those mistakes. They are so proud. They hold on so firmly to what they believe in, whether it is working or not. And they continue to the next relationship and keep multiplying mistakes upon mistakes in their lives. Listen, if anybody has told you before that love is a scam, know that it is because that person is speaking from a place of hurts. If anybody tells you marriage is a scam, know that it's because they're speaking from a place of hurts. It's either their own hurts or hurts from their family members, parents, neighbors, or somebody close by. Okay, why is that the case? Because your experiences, your own experiences, tend to give you a narration of what truly is. Many times, what you see, what people describe, how do I say this now? You represent the world from your own prisms. Okay, you represent the world, you see the world from your own lenses. Okay, so many times the things that people say are wrong may not actually be wrong. It might just be that they didn't have a good experience with that thing and they have termed it as wrong. So let me say this. Are there people you have met before and everyone or some other people described that person as a rude or a proud person, but when you had the opportunity to work closely with that person, you saw that that person has such a pleasant and a wonderful character? Have you experienced that before? I'm sure you have. Okay. And that is one reason why you don't believe every narration that people give out there, because people give all of those narrations from their own experiences, from their own viewpoints, from their own lenses, from their own paradigms, from their own sense of level of intelligence. Okay. So you don't accept everything people are saying about a particular thing until sometimes you want to even find out for yourself. Okay. Now, let me take it one step at a time. Okay, there's some points I jotted down so that they can just guide me in my conversation. Okay, so I said, let me read out a few things I said here. I said your personal boundaries are the limits or the rules that we set for ourselves in a relationship. They help you to define what you're comfortable with, why you make certain choices you make in that relationship, and how you would like to be treated by others. Okay. Now, the most important thing about boundaries is your self-awareness. Because if you don't know what you like, if you don't know what is acceptable for you or by you or with you, then how would you be able to tell somebody that, hey, you know what, don't cross this line? You need to be self-aware. One of the biggest things I've found out since I started doing relationship and marriage counseling and coaching is that, you know, your self-esteem is like, it's like the most important thing. Your self-concept. How do you see yourself? How do you perceive yourself? How do you believe that others perceive you? Do you understand that? Okay, because that's some people's problem. So it's not really how people see them. It's how they see themselves that they believe people are seeing them. Do you remember when Moses sent out the 12 spies to go check out the land of Canaan, which is going to be the promised land? Do you know that when they came back, 10 out of the 12 of them said, those people, they are giants. And we were as grasshoppers in their eyes. Listen to that statement again. We were as grasshoppers in their eyes. The question is, were you seen from their own lenses? Were you seen from their eyes? Are you them? Are they you? Do you understand? Are you in their eyes? How do you know that you are like grasshoppers in their eyes? How do you know they were not seeing you as giants? How do you know they did not see you as mountains? Why do you think that they saw you as grasshoppers? Why? Because you saw yourselves as grasshoppers. You see, and even in scripture, there was another example of the flip side where there were four lepers, okay, who were so hungry and they told themselves, you know what, today we die. If we stay here, hunger kill us. If we go to the camp of the Philistines where there's a lot of food and beg for food, they will catch us and they will still kill us because we're outcasts. So what should we do? Should we sit here and die? And they said, no, we can't just sit here and die. All die and not die. So let us make progress, whether we die in the course of the progress. And they went to the camp of the Philistines. But the Bible said something, that as they were on the way to the Philistine camp, the Lord amplified their steps. And the Philistines heard the sounds of many horses and, chariots. And they thought to themselves that, the Israelites have gone to go and hire other kings to come and fight fight also. And they took to their heels. They ran, they killed themselves, they fled, and they abandoned everything that they had in the camp. And that was how Israel was delivered from siege. Why am I giving that example? Because if those lepers had seen themselves just as lepers and not known, or that if they didn't have the courage to say, let's just go and check it out, that miracle would not have been recorded. So I'm saying that for you to know that it is possible that you think you are little, but God amplifies you in the sight of others. That is very important to know. Now, the flip side, which is the negative side, which the other 10 people did, was that instead of thinking themselves as great as they were, instead of remembering all of the great miracles that God had done for them in bringing them out of slavery in Egypt, they went there and saw themselves as grasshoppers. But because they saw themselves as grasshoppers, they believed that that was how the other people were seeing them also. So you see, many times what happens, how you describe the world, how you respond to circumstances out there is most times a reflection of your own inner state. All right? So when you hear people say, I'm just not good at anything, it's what they're telling themselves. If you hear people say, no, they won't take me there because they don't take people like us there, it's what they're telling themselves. When you hear people say things like, I can't even get no good man, no serious guy will be interested in me because I have a child, is what they're telling themselves. I have been abused before. I don't think anybody will find value in dating somebody like me, is what they're telling themselves. Okay, and that is why, to a large extent, it determines how the rest of your life plays out. That's why I keep telling you that the most important thing is your self-concept. What are you telling yourself? What have you believed about yourself? You cannot have boundaries if you have a terrible and a low self-esteem. Because along the line, I'm also going to talk about negative boundaries. Okay, you will discover that certain things that people call boundaries are just the expression of their low self-esteem, the expression of their insecurities, the expression of their jealousy, the expression of that bad habit that they have not taken care of, is what they call boundaries. You see, so we'll talk about them in the subsequent session, okay? I'm not sure I'll be able to get into that here, all right? But you need to know this. The most important thing in your relationship journey is your self-esteem. You need to pay attention to what you think about yourself. And in doing that, I always say this, you have to go back to your source. You have to find out, where are you from? You will always take after the quality of where you were sourced from. And I keep telling you, your source, your origin is God Almighty. You are that valuable because the Bible says that God made you in his image and likeness. So you are as valuable as God is because you came from him. You need to know these things. That's how some of us, that's how our lives have been changed forever. We can never be intimidated anywhere. There is nothing, nowhere, nothing can intimidate me. It does not just exist. Because I'm full of assurance of who I am, of whose I am, of the graces I carry. Do you understand that? And you need to be that sure of yourself. People have asked me time and time again, how come things always work out for you? Sometimes I just laugh and tell them, don't worry, it's not everything I can start explaining for you right now. It starts from within. It starts from a knowing. I hope somebody gets this. Okay, so your boundaries will not work if you don't have a healthy self-concept. You say he slapped me because I made him angry. But he really loves me. He just slapped me because me, I know myself, my mouth is too sharp. You don't love yourself. You don't value yourself. You don't. There's how somebody will speak to you. There's how somebody will talk to you. You tell yourself that, you know what, to avoid insults, I can't have anything to do with this person again. Why? Because you know that, hey, I'm not available to be trampled upon. If you will not respect me, then we cannot be friends. Please, just stay your lane. Let's be waving to each other from afar. It's okay like that. You see, but some of you want to get everybody that gets close to you, you want to drag them into your life. Why? Because there's a kind of validation you're looking for. You want people to like you. You want to be accepted by people. You see that thing about self-concept again? You see it playing out again? Okay, you see that? So by the time you feel like your life will be better because so person is in it, when that person starts treating you anyhow, you wouldn't have the courage to say no to that behavior or to walk out of that abusive place because you have assigned unnecessary importance to that person. You see that? So your self-concept is key. That's just what I'm trying to emphasize. Your boundaries in a relationship will be strengthened by your level of self-awareness. Your level of self-awareness. And that awareness should be healthy. It should be self-esteem, not awareness of your weaknesses. Because that one is some people, that's all they know how to do. See my big nose, my eyes. Oh, I'm not fine. Those of you that are fine, some of us that are, you hear all of those kind of things. And you're just wondering, hey, why do you keep talking like this? Somebody used to say those days to me that, when you make come, remember me. And I said, really? Why do you think you're not the one who will make it and needs to remember me? Why do you just put yourself already in the place of disadvantage? Why? Because of what has been going on inside their hearts, because of how they perceive themselves, because they think they are not good enough for success, because they think they should always be helped, because they think they should always be at the receiving end, because they think they are always victims, because they think that they're always at the mercy of circumstances, because they think they are not good enough, because they think they don't deserve good things, because they think they are not worthy of honor, they are not worthy of grace, they are not worthy of wealth, and they are not worthy of a good life. You need to deliver yourself from that kind of thinking. If not, everybody who comes into your life, you will attempt to use them to solve that void, and they will keep trespassing boundaries because you never had those boundaries and you never even communicated them, even if you had them. Why? Because you are afraid of losing that validation that you're getting from those people. Have I emphasized self-awareness enough? I think I have. Let me move on. Okay. I think I have. Whoa. So, you see, it's your personal boundaries many times that advise what your relationship boundaries will become. Okay, why? Because your personal boundaries, take note, stem from your value system. Your personal values, your personal boundaries stem from your value system. What do you like? What do you love? What do you not like? What can you not tolerate? These are questions you need to ask yourself. Because someone asked me one time, how should I put it? How do I know my boundaries? That was the question. How do I know my boundaries? And I said, this is how I answered it. I think anybody can just learn from this. First of all, what are the things you are uncomfortable with? When you're in a room and everything is okay, and then due to some developments, you start feeling uncomfortable, identify the reason for that discomfort. Maybe somebody came in and just started hugging people and got to you and wanted to hug you, and you're like, hey, please, you just felt irritated. Why do you feel that irritation? Because you feel like your personal space is being infringed upon, because you feel like, hey, I don't know you that well, so don't come and cozy up with me. Hey, you know what? How can you just come in and say, have you met me before? Do you understand? You see, that thing there, that irritation for you is a boundary. It means that what you're saying is, I'm not comfortable with you getting this close to me. Oh, let me use one example that many of you can relate to. Are you ready for this? How many of you have gone somewhere? You probably were not just in the mood to chit chat. Maybe you were in the bus, and then this guy sat down beside you, and he unsolicited just started telling you stories. You see, today, when I was coming back, in fact, I start talking, and then initially, you're trying to be graceful and to be polite, and you go, oh yes, oh okay, and then guy is not about to end. In fact, you even fake a phone call, like, I'm sorry, please, I have a call. And as soon as you finish, he says, hey, as I was saying, and he just starts talking. Hey, and you're wondering, can you just shut up? I'm sure somebody can relate to that. Okay, you find people who are just so loquacious. You did not ask for their opinion. You did not ask them for stories. You didn't ask them for gist, but they just get talking and talking. And some of them, you even tell them, please, can you hold on a bit? I just want some time. And they will not hear what. They will keep talking. And they keep talking. Somebody said Uber drivers. There are some of them like that, but I think you can politely let them know that, please, if you don't mind, I'm trying to process something. Can you just, can we talk later, perhaps when I finish what I'm doing, and that thing you're doing will not finish till you get to your destination. All right. So this thing really happens. People are really calling bold drivers. They say it's customer service, but then some of them are customer disservice, Joe. All right, some of them are customer disservice. Sometimes you don't want the story. Leave me alone. I don't want. But you see how uncomfortable that is. Do you know what's happening there? Somebody is trying to push beyond the boundaries that you have. Yeah. The way I say it's like they sent them. Hey, Radical CJ. So you just plug your earpiece and you forget about those people, man. Okay, is the AC okay? Am I driving too fast? That one is customer service. After that one is yes and no answer. By the time you say yes and no, the person should leave you alone. There are people who will actually ask you, is it okay? Can we have a chat? Is it okay to engage you in a conversation? Sometimes I do that before I gist maybe in a place where I'm with. Like there was a day I had this flight for 11 a.m. and they kept shifting it until 7 p.m. and I was just all over the place, and there was this young lady who was sitting down somewhere all alone. So I went to her and I said, is it okay if we discuss? Do you understand? And she was like, oh yeah, she doesn't mind. I'm like, oh good, okay, so let's start from somewhere, but if I asked, can we discuss? And she said, no, I'll walk away. Okay, but some people know the year word. So we never ask you, can we gist? They will come and impose gist on top of your head. You see? And no matter how you try, they will just force themselves on your presence. Okay, so now you feel uncomfortable. Why? Because somebody is getting too close to a space you're not comfortable. It is one of the ways to identify what your boundaries are in anything. Now, this is just one example, but apply it to different areas of your interactions with people. Okay? Somebody says, Lyrical Ken, you do fake a call a lot. Okay. I'm catching you people now. CJ, it's with you. We're catching you guys now. Okay. Somebody says you go to ringtone settings and just let the phone ring. Yes, they are confessing now. Someone says I'm not faking any call. I'll just politely ask you to please stop. Exactly. Can you just stop? Stop. CJ, you're asking me a question. Who will say no to me? I don't blame you. I don't blame you. Some people can say no. But I respect no. If you tell me no, I'll respect it. I'll leave it. I'll leave it. Anyway, so I'm sure I've emphasized this point enough. That's an example of knowing something that is a boundary, that forms a boundary to you. I'm not comfortable with the way this person talks. Or maybe the person doesn't talk too much, but the choice of what they want to talk about is just something you're not ready to consume. Think of something you don't like. Maybe horror movies. Somebody just comes and all they want to gist about is horror movies, and you're not in for it. You like comedy, you like romance, not fear and, blood and all of those gory things. And this is all this person wants to gist about. And you're not feeling it. You see, it could be anything. All right. But the point is you identify those areas that you are not comfortable. When you start identifying that, what is happening is it is showing you that, hey, there's a boundary I need to put here. I don't like this kind of talk. So I need to find a way to block this kind of talk from coming up, or block this person entirely from bringing up this kind of conversation. You see, so that's one of the things. And then another way you can identify things you're not comfortable with. There are certain people that when they come around you, they start bringing out some kind of vibes from you that you don't like. So maybe it's anger vibes they're bringing out. You were all good and fine and smiling and happy with your day. And then somebody comes, he's not talking to you. Maybe something about that person's behavior is just pissing you off. This one is just too gross. Cannot behave himself. Why is it just... Oh, let me give you an example. How many of you, perhaps you were in a public place, maybe an office, and everybody was minding their business. Then somebody comes, is making a phone call in one language, any language that is not your language, that you don't even understand. And the person's voice is just so loud. So loud, it forces you to stop what you are doing and you must hear what I am saying, even though it's not you he's talking to. It's just like it's so loud and you feel like, who is this local person? Can you just shut up? Can you keep quiet? Please reduce your voice, for goodness sake. I'm sure you've seen that happen sometimes. Now, that person is not talking to you, but something that person is doing is bringing off some negative emotion or negative vibe. You know, radical syndrome. Okay. Yeah, they are looking for trouble. You are looking for trouble. It's not me and you here today. Someone says Nigeria is too serious. Allow people to gist you because update. You get a lot of update from those conversations, huh? Okay. So now, so this person might not be relating with you, but something about what that person does. You people have started calling tribes, and please, I did not send you people a message. Something about what that person does is bringing out a kind of vibe from you, a kind of negative energy you don't like. That is also telling you that I don't like this kind of thing, so I don't want it around my space. So just imagine that the same person that is exhibiting that behavior comes and starts toasting you tomorrow. How about? You already know something you don't like. Okay, please, come and be going. I don't want. I don't want. Please don't come and love. No way. You see? Now, so those are ways you can identify what your own boundaries are. Now, beyond these ones I am saying, from the way you were brought up, as a matter of fact, if you were, forgive my choice of words, if you were properly brought up, in other words, you were taught from childhood that certain things are honorable and certain things are not honorable. Certain things are acceptable in this family and other things are not. In this family, we say, I'm sorry. In this family, we forgive. In this family, we help one another. You know, in this family, we look out for each other. We're loyal to the vision, the family vision, okay? Now, if you were brought up like that, those already have formed certain values in you already, all right? And those, you know, from, like, don't forget I said when I was explaining what boundaries are, that they communicate your values, okay? So with those kind of values, when you meet people who don't respect or regard all of those things that you hold in high esteem, it already tells you that, hey, this person can't come close to me. Why? Because the more you keep listening to those people or entertaining those people who don't respect your values, the more they will corrupt your value system. And the Bible said it. It says, don't be deceived. Evil communication will do what? Will always corrupt good manners. All right? Let me see. There's a lot of chat going on there. Let me see what's going on. What have I missed? Okay. I can't indulge you people. I can't indulge you people. You guys are just funny guys. All right, so let me move on. Right, so identify those things that make you uncomfortable with people around you. Identify. Can you imagine? My time is just good, and I'm here just okay. Identify those things that make you uncomfortable. Identify those things that bring out funny vibes, funny energies from you. You know. So when you have identified those things, then form boundaries around them. If this person is always talking, then tell yourself that, hey, I'm not going to allow this person to get close to me. And even if he gets close to me, I'm going to let him know that, please, I think you talk too much. Please, I don't have the energy. I can't match your energy. You're just going to find a way to communicate it. And let me just go straight to that, because that's another thing that I really need to talk about boundaries. It's one thing to have boundaries, but it's another thing to let your partner know your boundaries. Oh yeah, they are not going to know automatically. They are not going to just know that she doesn't like it when I talk for long. She doesn't like it when I call at 9 p.m. He doesn't like it when I hug other guys. You're not just going to know. Don't expect them to just know. They are not you. You are not them. Your partner is not you. Do you understand that? So you can't just assume that your partner should know what you were trying to say or trying to not say. Or no, don't assume. You have to communicate. All right, you have to communicate. And you see, like I used an illustration at the beginning, speaking about the fence. Maybe if you're in a compound where it's a fenced compound, that fencing already is a communication to every other person around there that, you know what, this block is telling you don't pass here. And if you attempt to pass here unauthorized, then you are a criminal. That is communication right there. That fence is telling you whatever you do, don't come here. Some even tell you, stay clear. Stay clear. Don't come close to this place. That's communication. That is communication. But what happens many times? You don't communicate what your values are. You don't communicate what your boundaries are. And then you start carrying face up and down when your partner is doing those annoying things. Listen, there's no point keeping malice with somebody when the person doesn't even know what they have done to wrong you. Some people need to hear this. There is no point keeping malice with somebody. There's no point being angry at someone when they don't even know in what way they have offended you. All right? And you don't pick offense when you have not advised that you don't accept this kind of behavior. I need to say that again. Don't pick offense when you have not advised what is acceptable and not acceptable to you. Instead of picking offense, use that opportunity to now communicate that, okay, you know what, I didn't find it interesting, that joke you were sharing about the shape of my nose. I just don't like it. Please, could you not do this anymore? Do you understand? But don't get angry and, start swelling up all over the place because you're just insulting me. No. He did not know that it will make you feel like that. Maybe where it's coming from, that's how they used to yab and treat each other. Do you understand this? So this is how I like to say it. How do you set healthy boundaries in a relationship? First is know your own boundaries, and I've taken care of that. That's the first thing. Before you can set boundaries, you need to know them, and I've taken care of how to know them. But the second most important point I'm going to say is state it clearly and early. State your boundaries clearly and early. All right? Don't wait for the future of the relationship to go and start telling them, but I don't used to like that thing. State it early. It's very good to be clear in your communication and do that quick. Now, this is an advice I used to give people those days when we were still trying to get into the university in Nigeria. In those days when, there were fears about cultism and all those kind of bad influence on campus and things like that. One thing I used to tell teenagers then when they were getting into school, I used to tell them, hey, immediately you get in, make your stance clear. Let everybody know this one is a Christian. Don't try and be forming a let me just blend. I just want to be a monk. And nobody can place whether you're here or there. That is why they'll start inviting you to all manner of funny places. Do you understand? So make it clear from the beginning. Immediately you get in on campus, go and identify with the Christian community. Find a church, find a campus fellowship, wear their t-shirts, buy their sticker, put it on your door. Identify, make it clear already that, hey, this is where I belong. Because the problem with people who cannot make it clear or who don't make it clear, they're the ones who are open to all manner of temptations and invitations. Many of you would have been able to stop certain people from talking to you if you made it clear who you were. And for those who were in the occults and stuff like that, or cult groups on campus, they had a way of also making their identity clear. There were colors, there were signals, there were things they would do to let people know that, hey, this is who I am. So for you who is a Christian, you also need to make your stance very clear. Don't let people have to guess where you stand or who you are. Don't let them guess. Let them know. Tell them. State it clearly and early. They're telling you, matriculation party, come, let's go for matriculation party. And it's in those parties many people used to be initiated into cults. But because they try to be neutral, try to just be for everybody, try to feel like a guy that knows what's up, or a what's up babe, they lure them to those kind of environments, force them into joining groups that they cannot even let people know about, and then they live the rest of their lives in fear and oppression. But when you make it clear from the beginning, I am a Christian, or they say come to party, you say, no, I don't used to go to party, or it's all night prayer I used to go for. Come to my fellowship. Now we have program, we have praise party. Come and attend. With time, they will leave you alone. Why? What have you done? You have communicated clearly and early. So that's something you need to do in your relationship. Don't wait till there's problem. Communicate clearly. And don't forget that we always say this. Your relationship stage should be a lot of talking. There should be a lot of talking. How do I put it now? At relationship level, what you should do is communicate. Don't get romantically involved. Gist, talk. That is where you start stating some of these things. That's how you start understanding people's values, people's boundaries. That's where you start understanding it. Now, the truth is, it's not everything you will say at the beginning, but every time you have the opportunity, maybe something prompts something, address it immediately. You guys were just gisting and having a nice time, and the person said a joke you considered expensive. There and then, let them know, please, I don't appreciate this kind of jokes. Yeah, I don't like it. I don't appreciate it. Please, don't say it again. Straight up, state it clearly and state it early. The person does it again, remind them that you informed them before that you don't appreciate this kind of joke. You're going somewhere with it. He does it the third time, you cut the person off. Why? Because you are aware of your boundaries. Okay, so communicate it clearly and early. Very, very key. I cannot overemphasize this point. Don't assume that they will know. They won't know. Don't assume. If part of your boundaries, for example, are that nobody should visit you from 7 p.m. and then this guy comes knocking at the door by 9 p.m. The first way you're going to communicate that boundary to him is that you will attend to him from the window. I said, oh, I'm so sorry. Why are you coming by this time? Are you okay? Is everything all right? He said, yes, I just wanted to check on you. Oh, I'm so sorry. No, I don't take visitors at this time. Perhaps you could come back tomorrow morning and we will discuss. State it clearly. But I'm already here now. Oh, no, I wasn't aware you were coming, and I'm not obliged to take you in. Don't go and open the door and then he starts saying, he refused to go. That's how he slept over. We hear all manner of things in this relationship matter. I did not know. He just came, before you know it, I didn't know when he slept off. You will wake the person up. Who they sleep, not they wake up. You will wake him up and say, okay, come and be going, time don't reach. Out. Do you understand? I know 7 p.m. does not apply to Lagos. I know 7 p.m. Lagos people have never reached house. Oh my God. But you get the example, right? Yeah, you get the example. You get what I'm saying. Okay, so make it clear. Somebody says, let's hang out this Friday, and you think, oh, that's a cool idea. I mean, it's been a busy week for me. I could use some hangout. And you say, okay, what are you thinking of? And he says, there's this new strip club that just opened, man, by the junction. You tell him straight up, I don't do strip clubs. Nope. I go not. Do you understand? Clearly, state it clearly and state it early. Don't go and be quiet and be thinking of how to, and then, state it clearly. Do you know what? It immediately gives an impression of who you are and what value systems you have. I've heard Pastor Kingsley Okonkwo say something severally, and he says that men don't treat all women the same way. No. Men treat you according to your level of permission. They treat you according to what you're okay with. Do you understand? They don't treat all women the same way. So they might throw the vibes in the air, but how many people pick it? Those who return the vibes, they continue with them. But those who don't return the vibes, they stay clear. All right? So you need to learn to communicate your boundaries clearly and early. Please don't forget. If you forget everything we have said, don't forget this one. State it clearly and early, in clear terms. All right? Clear terms. Don't do stop it, I like it. You know what they call stop it, I like it? Do you know? They're touching you one kind, say, oh, stop now. Oh, stop. Yourself, stop now. Oh, leave me. Stop now. That's what they call stop it, I like it. If you really don't want, your face will communicate your seriousness. Don't try that again. I don't tolerate that, please. I don't like it. I don't appreciate it. Don't touch me like that. When you speak like that to somebody, they will see the difference, even if you were laughing before. But by the time you're doing, oh, stop now. Oh, stop now. You don't used to hear what? Oh, you people say. What you are telling brother is, continue. Let's go there. Before you know, you people will arrive at where you don't know. Where they did not send you. All right? So communicate clearly and early. Early. State it. All right? I tell women that you guys should be the police in a relationship. It's very key. Insist on what you don't want. Insist. I don't want it. I don't want. Insist. All right? Then, let me run through a number of points. I've already used up my time. Learn to say no when you're not comfortable with something. Learn to say no. Say no. N-O. And guess what? You must not always give an explanation for your no. No is no. Why? Because no. I don't want it. I have a right to not want it. I'm a human being. I'm a free moral agent, and I can choose what I want and what I don't want. And in this case, I said I don't want. Somebody said, which part of the no don't you understand? Is it the N or the O? No. Learn to say no. You see this thing they call pressure sometimes. It just makes people to forget, where they're coming from, forget their values, and they just want to please people, and they just want to be among, and they just want to be considered as some of the cool kids on the block, and they begin to accept everything, even things they should not. Please learn to say no. I cannot overemphasize that. All right. Another way you can help to strengthen your boundaries is to reduce contacts with people that always trigger those negative emotions and experiences. Reduce contact with them. You see, some people don't know that you must not be friends with everyone. You must not. You must not. You must not be accepted by everybody. So if you're trying to always be in people's good books, then you're definitely not going to have boundaries. Because people are going to request from you things that you can't do, things that you cannot meet up with, but because you don't want to lose them, you will say yes. You will say okay. And at the end of the day, you'll be tolerating things you had no business tolerating. All right. So, reduce contact with those kind of people that trigger those kind of negative emotions or experiences. Reduce contact with them. In fact, when we speak of boundaries, one that everybody can relate with the most is that your WhatsApp and Instagram has block. There are people that because you don't want them to see your status, you block them. That's a kind of boundary. That is a kind of boundary. You don't want them to call you anymore, you block them. That's a kind of boundary. So if you can block people virtually, what makes you think that you cannot actually block people physically? You can. Do you know that there's how you will greet somebody, that they can't say you're rude, but they know that you are not open for an invitation, for a conversation. They know. It's how you will greet somebody and move on. There's no room for, how was the night? Just, hello, good morning, and you move on. But there's how you will greet somebody that the person will know that, okay, it's gist, so let us gist. So, now, how is everything? How are you? How was the night? Some people don't know that question is not your business. How was the night is not your business. Don't be asking people how was the night. Some people will be asking married people how was the night. What concerns you with their night? What is your business with that woman's night? How was the night? They don't know. Yeah? But there's how you will greet people and move on, and they know that there's no space for conversation. Okay? So they won't say you're rude, but you're passing a message that, hey, Oga, we have nothing in common. It's courtesy and respect I'm according you, but we have nothing in common. All right. So learn how to reduce those kind of contacts. Not everybody you admit into your space. There are people who are full of negative vibes. Take them away from you. They come here, you go there. If two of you have to be in the same space, then you take charge of the conversation. Why? Because you have boundaries and you're aware that you have boundaries. In the next session, next week, I'm going to take, in fact, next week, I'm just going to take examples. I'm just going to give examples of healthy and and unhealthy boundaries. I'm going to give several examples. Eh? Examples like, yeah, I know we're dating, but I just went to spend the night with my ex. I said, no, nothing happened, though. Nothing happened. Nobody's asking you what happened. Why did you go in the first place? That you went means everything happened, whether it happened or not. I'm not serious. We'll talk about those kind of things next week. So please, all of you, gather around, invite your friend. Next week, I'm sure I'll try to never look at notes or anything. I will just treat examples because this is something that I see almost every time. People bring cases to me, and before we are, before I even want to, before we start getting into from the beginning of the story, you just feel like asking, but what business did you have going there? You see, there are lots of examples like that, and I'll be taking those examples next week. Okay? They say just the play, Abby. All right, so let me stop there for today. There's a lot of things I'd love to say. Maybe I'll just make this into one of my books. Okay, by the way, I'm a publisher now. I have books here. No, I'm not publisher, I'm author, yeah. I have a number of books in the pipeline. One is already out. By the end of this month, 2 will be out. By the end of the year, let me not let the bag out of the cat or the cat out of the bag. Let there be no let out. All right, but I mean, a lot of things are going on, and I'll be so glad to introduce you guys to all of these resources. Don't forget, we still have the Before You Say I Do pre-marriage course. Okay. And then we still have the WhatsApp mentorship community. All right, please, I encourage you guys to please subscribe, come in, and be a part of it. Over the weekend, we had the first edition of what we call the Maisie Surf Series. Okay, Surf Series stands for Success, Relationship, Finance, and Faith. Okay, and we said that every month I'm going to be organizing these webinars where I invite my friends and people who are authorities in different fields, in different areas, to share on things that will bother around personal success, relationship success, financial success, and faith. All right. So we had the first edition on Saturday and Sunday, and it was really wonderful. We spoke about intentional living. We spoke about having a personal vision. We spoke about, how to identify and break the cycles of stress. All right. So if you missed those, the videos are on our YouTube. Please go and watch. In February, we're going to have another edition. I'll be announcing the theme very soon, and we'll be doing this every month. All right. So let's stop there for now. Ken says I should have like 300 books already. Yeah, I know from all the content, right? We're working on this. Yeah, but not up to 300 yet. But I don't mind. I don't mind that goal. Okay, so much for that. Thank you guys for your time. God bless you. I hope you have enjoyed every bit of the conversation. Please do join us again next week. And we're going to be looking at practical examples of these boundaries. I tried to use today to do all the theory, okay, all the explanation I could. But next week, we'll take case studies. I will share some cases with you, and then you tell me what you think about those cases. All right. So God bless you guys. See you again next week. This is Love Code with Maisie signing out now.